Hi everyone, Merry Meet. Glad to have you guys back again. And my name is Starr, and I wanted to kind of go into a bit of witchy chip on magical jargon, meaning a lot of magical words that witches use, and so that you're not standing there with a blank look on your face, you would know what it means. So when a witch says the word adept, the word originally derived from a Latin term meaning adeptus, meaning to grasp. In the witchcraft term, it means that that person is very good at what they do, whether it's rituals, writing the rituals, performing it, knowing the words to the rituals as best that they can, or should be very proficient, knowing it by heart, that kind of a thing. So you're an adept witch, and you go on from there. Usually you kind of first, second, third degree, and then you begin your year of being an adept, and how long ever it takes you to become very proficient at it. When you finish being an adept, we then say to you, you've dedicated or graduated to being an adept witch, meaning that you know what you're doing and you're very proficient at it. So that's what the word adept means. And it's spelled A-D-E-P-T. Okay? Then we have, the next word we have is amulet. This is what I would consider an amulet. Any kind of charm or piece of jewelry that is worn for a specific reason. Some say mostly as in protection against evil. So you can, depending on whatever that charm is for, or that amulet is for, you alone would know what that is for and what it means to you. And usually people consecrate it and cleanse it first and consecrate it and wear it, and no one is supposed to touch it. The energy is supposed to be just for you. If someone touches it, usually you go and you have to cleanse it again and reconsecrate it again. Alright? So that's amulet. Boline, I know a lot of people say a boline, which is spelled B-O-L-I-N-E, or it could also be spelled B-O-L-L-I-N-E, or B-O-W-L-E-E-N, or it's enunciated as B-O-W-L-E-E-N, boline. And usually a lot of people say it's a white-handled ritual knife, one that is used for one of your magical tools that is used for inscribing on candles. As you can see, mine is not white-handled, mine is brown-handled. So that part about the color of the handle really, I think, is irrelevant. It's entirely up to you, because I've seen people put black tape over theirs, or just get a handle that's black in general, a black piece of wood. So it really doesn't matter about that part of it. Usually the boline means that it is one-sided, meaning it's going one way only. Whereas, for instance, I'll show you the differences. Whereas this is an athame, and it's double-sided. Okay, so meaning that it comes to a point here. It's not meant to, athames are not meant to draw blood or to hurt anyone. It's meant to be used only in ritual, and just to draw down energy into, or to be as part of your magical tool. But this is an athame, and they can come in many different material. So I've seen some people have an athame made of pure crystal, some made of only wood, some made of, my son actually had an athame that was the bone of an alligator that he picked up in New Orleans when we were there. And he was gravitating towards it, and he wanted that. He said, "Mom, this is my athame." So, an athame could be made from any material. Okay, so that's an athame, and that's a boline, just so you would know the differences. And how it's spelled. An athame is A-T-H-A-M-E. I've seen people pronounce it different ways. It's very hard for me to pronounce it that different way, other than what I know it to be, which is athame. Alright? Something as simple as a cauldron. And this one is a really small one. They come in different sizes. They can go from smaller than this to really big, because at one point witches used to actually use their cauldron for cooking. Cast iron cauldron. And it was huge. And, they would stand there with the big stick. You've seen many pictures of it, the olden ways, where they would be grinding that, all the cooking stuff. And they didn't just do spells in it or create spells of different potions or anything like that. They actually were cooking their food and putting in their different herbs. Then also we have our chalices, and they could be, honestly, again, any material. I was given this as a gift last year, my birthday, and actually right now it's also my birthday. So talk about being at the same time, right? And this is another chalice. So again, it could be in any material, and it's only basically used for ritual, for libation, or you can be using it for the great rite, or anything ritually that you're speaking of. All right, and those are your chalices. I then have, this is a BOS, or a Book of Shadows. And it, again, this is just one type of Book of Shadows. I've seen some really big, some smaller. It's up to you. And I've seen people take notebooks and make them into their Book of Shadows because that's what they can afford. That's what they can use, you know what I mean? So that's what they use. And there's no harm to it. You can do just about anything in a Book of Shadows. This is my temple's Book of Shadows, the Wiccan family temple. So hence, the things that in here are pertaining to the temple, and it's the different people that have gone through here. We've even put in the many hand fastings and things like that. The names of those people are recorded in here. Our students that have come through our halls, basically, over the years, they're all in here. So, and you can put just about anything in a Book of Shadows. Anything at all that you want to write. It's similar to a diary, but it's a diary of all the things you do as a witch. Your spells, your rituals, what the results were of a particular spell. You can record things. This is the day I had I got married or hand fasted. This is the recording of a death in the family. Anything like that. Anything you want to put in it is up to you because it's your Book of Shadows. Okay? And it's not doctrined to or the Holy Grail for anybody else. It's your personal thing of what you want to do, whether you're solitary or your temple or whatever. All of that is recorded in there. So that's that one. Then we have the word coven. That's that became something for me because I heard some people calling the word coven, and there's no such word in the sense of particularly meaning towards witches. The word is coven. And essentially the word just means a collection of individuals with similar interest that do activities together. Essentially, I guess you can say a coven of witches, or usually around 13, that keep company and do rituals together, and do different things together for whatever end result that they want. The word origin probably is from an old French word, coven, or coven, group, and it just means a group. And it was never pronounced or enunciated as coven because it's C, not K. Alright? And there's also a Latin word, coven, fire. Convent or convena. And basically it just means coming together. Alright? And you could kind of see, I know you guys have seen movies called like Covenant and things like that. And it's just saying coven and going into the word. So I had to say that one because of what I've seen people do over the time. Let's see. There's another word, 2 words, dedication and initiation. 2 different things entirely, but very similar. Dedication is when you are dedicating yourself to your deities, the god and goddesses. You're doing a dedication to you, yourself, and it's saying what you want to do, what your spirituality means to you, and where you want to go with it. So it's a commitment, your loyalty, your devotion, your allegiance to, or your adherence to a particular thing or deity or being, okay? Whereas initiation, on the other hand, if you have a coven or a group, you're being initiated into that coven or group. So your initiation is literally that only, nothing more. Some people have taken it more into further things, their initiation into that group, and then their dedication to the particular deities and things like that. But so you should know the differences, and there are differences. Most, I'm not saying all, most witches are believe in many deities. It's not regular, but I'm just saying that it's most of us, because there are some that are not, that don't that only believe in one. The altar. Your altar could basically, and it's Altar. There are some people that spell it Alter. It is not that. Alter with ER is to alter something, to change something. Whereas the word altar, Altar, is where you have a sacred space that you have set up for all of your items that are spiritually used or religiously used for you. Your altar, where you have your setup of everything. Two different things entirely. So there is that. Then there's the word, let's see, docile or jostle, depending on how you enunciate it. Either is acceptable, and it just means clockwise. So if you're going jostle around in a circle, dancing or passing around something, jostle, you're going clockwise. When you go widdershins, it means you're going opposite direction, counterclockwise. Okay? Another word that I, like I said, I was just saying, anything pagan-wise or anything, I'm going to have another video on that regarding what we call ourselves. In terms of, say, skyclad, okay, that's something that honestly, it was not necessarily part of witches. It is just, and it just means, I'm not even going to go into that, because that's a whole other can of worms, but basically all it means is naked. You are doing ritual naked, and that's entirely up to you. I do have to say my little part on it for people to know. In terms of skyclad, it is not something that's part of witchcraft. It never really was. That's something that Gardner kind of introduced in the 50s, and because he was a nudist. You know, it was not part of it before that in terms of witches doing that. Some people are nudists, and that's what they do. So when he, being a nudist, brought that to his type of Wicca or witchcraft, then people adapted it and went on with it from there, and thinking that was part of what witchcraft is. But it's just, he was a nudist. And so did, you know, other parts of his scourging, which scourging means whipping and putting you through certain things. Again, he was into BDSM or sadist masochism, and that was his thing, and that kind of came off into his craft as well. So people have adapted that and gone forward with it, thinking that that's all part of, you know, witches and what they do, and it's not. It is up to you. That's what you want to do. You're quite welcome to do so. Again, that's because that, you know, it was his tradition, the Gardnerian tradition, and he has the right to like that. That's his. He's a nudist, and this is what he wanted, so he added it. No big deal, and it's all good. The word ritual is just simply, think of it as every morning you wake up, you go and you brush your teeth and wash your face and then take a bath and all of that. That's a ritual. Something that you do constantly on a daily basis, and that's all the word ritual means. But for us, as witches, we have adapted the word ritual to the procedure for as our religious ceremony, where we do our sabbats and our esbats, or maybe even to do a spell work. We want to do our spell within a sacred circle, so we cast a circle and do the ritual for it. So, you know, that's just a few words. If you want to have any more words that you would like to have definitions of or go over a bit, you can always email me or contact me via Facebook. And I would gladly answer any more questions. And again, if you have a topic you'd like me to talk about really briefly, let me know. All right? Thank you, and merry part. Hope you enjoy.